Welcome to your Conscious Choices for Wellness podcast, hosted by B. Crutelli. This is a space for everyone to learn anything and everything related to healthy healing, including naturopathic medicine, music, dance, yoga, meditation, eco-fashion, mothering, and organic lifestyle choices. Topics for expanding universal consciousness. Come join me weekly as we delve in and begin this journey, sharing valuable content gathered over the past 3 decades, helping to support a healthier and more sustainable future for all. Hello and welcome, beautiful souls, to the Conscious Choices for Wellness podcast. It is the last week of August coming up, and we are still in summer 2025. Crazy, crazy times we are in, aren't we? So I'm just going to keep on keeping on talking about what I love to share and just keep the consciousness up and the vibes going as far as we can, you know. This week I was inspired by another podcast that I had started listening to recently called the Big Dharma Podcast. And she had a guest on there that's a naturopathic doctor. Very nice conversation they were having about various things with consciousness and being connected to our higher self, you know, connection with the universe and our intuition and all that good stuff that I've been talking about, a lot of that lately. So it was very inspiring to me to incorporate fascia into my discussion, because I don't think I might have mentioned it a little bit maybe in my collagen podcast, but I wanted to go in depth more, and actually I'm going to make a part 2 next week because there was some other questions that I had and a little research that I did, because fascia is such an exciting topic and part of our being. So this is a podcast today where we will be exploring the importance of our fascia health, the hidden bridge between our cells and universal consciousness. We are spiritual beings, right, in human shapes. I put shapes instead of forms, you know, it's all the same. But we all have a little different shape and a different look to us, and we are connected because we do have very many similarities, right, as well. Like an actual living antenna that is tuned into the frequencies of the universe. Okay? Because we are so much more. And there's people out there, as you know, that are channeling these messages from the greater consciousness webs that are out there. The places that we will go back to when our human body dies. You know, we should be so grateful to have this experience, to have, you know, made our so-called spiritual contract to come here and to do the work that whatever we were meant to do, right? If we can find our calling while we're here and complete our purpose in some way with the craziness that's all around us, then we've accomplished something, right? And there is abundance, right? We hear about all the abundance that's out there, and I'm trying to really tap into that because I really believe that we can, if we can be strong enough. It's a challenge when we have so many blocks and so much that's happened to us, our conditioning throughout our lives. Then some of us have had more than others, right? We all have different lives and how we were raised. So it may take some of us longer, like myself, right? I just entered my 50s recently, and I have so much work to do, and I'm grateful for where I'm at, but I also know that I could be farther along if maybe this, or this wouldn't happened, or I would have made these better decisions or whatever, you know. My intuition was stronger when I was younger, whatever. So here I am, and I was inspired to talk to you all about this today. If fascia sounds familiar, but you're like, fascia, what exactly is that? Maybe you've heard of it. Yes, it is part of you. This is a crucial part of you that is forgotten about. It's not discussed, okay? It's definitely not discussed in mainstream. Your doctor's not talking about it. One of the least talked about body systems. And I believe that this is a system. It's a huge system. In fact, that's why I'm discussing it, because it's huger than really any other bodily system. Fascia is a unique network in our bodies that literally is present throughout every bodily system. It's a web-like network of connective tissue that surrounds and supports our muscles, organs, blood vessels, cells, nerves, and our bones throughout our body. So it's connecting everything, okay? It's our fascia, okay? If you think of like this web-like, system that's just kind of connecting everything, right? That makes sense, right? We have to be just connected, all these things in our body. It's like, what are they all connected? How are they all connected, right? We think, okay, our bones are structural system. Yes, that's connecting our bones together. And then what's around that? Well, part of our body has organs, right? And like the center of our body. And then we've got blood, and we know we have like lymph and cells. And yes, then there's this fascia system, this connective network, web-like, just miraculous. Well, when I say network, that means that it's a communication system, okay, for all of these different parts. And in this episode, we will explore the fascia a bit, not just as connective tissue, but as a living vibrational web that links all of our cells with the frequencies of the universe. So not only is it connecting everything inside of us, if it's healthy, okay, when it's healthy enough, it can actually connect us with the outside so we can feel the frequencies, so we can get to the frequencies that are out there that we cannot see, because we're living in an energetic world, right? We're living in an energetic universe. I think, most of you listening or hearing or reading about this can admit to that, right? And science has proven that, at least. So let's discover how this hidden body system may hold the key to our intuition, cellular health, and even our cosmic connection. This vital tissue, composed mainly of collagen, yep, that's right, the importance of collagen, here we go. That's why I think I must have mentioned it. In fact, I'm kind of remembering that I wanted to talk more about fascia because I mentioned it, and I was like, wow, this is like really fascinating. I know there's a lot to this, and I should have a whole episode on it. Well, now here I am months later, bringing it back. Functions as a protective wrapping, a lubricant that reduces friction, as well as a communication system due to its high concentration of mechanoreceptors and nerve endings. Sounds pretty special, right? So then why isn't fascia talked about more? Why isn't our fascia being given the attention that it needs? Well, I bet you that's a whole nother thing that we could look into and probably find out. And it's, probably just something, back in the day when they made the rules of what they were going to teach in med school, they just didn't think it was anything important. They maybe didn't have enough science, to see it for what it is. And whomever I'm sure there was probably someone back in the day, right, that was, like, oh, what's this and this, obviously it's got its name from somewhere, and I don't know the roots of it. I didn't go into all that. I don't think we need to do that today. This might not make sense to some of you, but we probably learned some of this and may have forgotten in anatomy, or, if you've ever taken physiology or anything, depending on what profession that you're in. The mechanoreceptor neurons right? Neurons are these little, well, they have synapses, that connect the different sites together, but the neurons are like communication centers to like our cells and to our brain and, throughout our body that are sending messages to, have a lot to do with our emotions, and probably a lot of why some of us are sick and we don't know why we can't get better, because maybe there's something happening here with our nervous system and our emotions, and our neurons are not, they're like dysfunctioning, right? They can't, or they're just probably so overloaded with negativity that they don't know how else to act, how else to send messages to the brain. And it just keeps like, saying the same thing over and over, and we get stuck, right? And you can imagine if you're telling yourself the same negative story over and over and over, of course, it's going to make you not feel well. And it's going to really cause some serious illness in the body. These mechanoreceptor neurons are often surrounded by complex extracellular structures that couple displacement to the cell membrane, where mechanically activated ion channels create a receptor current. So I'm not going to get any more technical than that, okay? It's not what this whole episode is about. But this is just kind of, explaining one part of our fascia system has these receptors. So it is very much part of a communication system. This is just kind of a breakdown of that in technical terms. So it sounds pretty special. Fascia also plays a vital role in supporting healthy lymphatic flow. This dynamic duo works harmoniously to filter harmful elements and sustain our immune responses. As we nurture our fascia, we open the gates to enhanced lymphatic health, which is vital for detoxification and nourishment. Without these systems in check, disease will set in eventually. Or quickly, depending on how strong you are. We're all different and how much we can handle. So I have, known about the lymphatic system. I think I learned a lot more about that in school than I did the fascia. It was probably barely mentioned in my schooling as well. But the lymphatic system, I know how important that is because it needs to stay flowing, right? We have lymph nodes all over our body. And if they get too clogged up with too much lymph because it's not flowing and it gets stuck, then it causes swollen lymph nodes. And waste is in the lymph trying to be released. And then waste gets stuck, and then it causes infection, and then it causes us to be sick. It causes inflammation, and so we really need our lymphatic system to be flowing, and it's like a team with the blood. So symptoms of a restricted fascia would be decreased vitality, excess mucus, repeated illness, inflammation and pain, which is really the same thing. If you have inflammation, you probably have pain as well. Blocked intuition. Okay, I added that because that has been, science is looking into that now. And that's why I was so fascinated when I heard that on the podcast. I was like, wow. Okay. And something else I'm going to talk about next week is how it even relates to other things. Like, I'm just going to give you a little sneak here. I wasn't going to mention it until the end, but restless leg syndrome, or RLS, which I don't know what the percentage of people that deal with that now, but it has gotten much more common in the last 20 years or even 10 years. I actually got it for the first time, started experiencing this restless leg syndrome in my last pregnancy when I was 33, 34. And I don't deal with it all the time anymore, and I'm still trying to figure out, because, for years I was like, oh, I just need magnesium, or, I've tried like different cannabinoids for it. And that can be helpful, yes, but it's more than that. There's something that's more than that. And when I was reading about fascia and learning more, I was like, this kind of seems like it would be related to the restless leg syndrome because it has something to do with the nervous system, has something to do with blood flow. And sure enough, I'm not going to say no more. I'm going to talk about it more next week. It does. Now they're finding out that. Just even a few years ago when I would look up RLS, there wasn't that much information. They're just still, it was a very new thing a decade ago. And I think about 10% of people had it. I bet you now it's more like 15 or 20%. So symptoms of, and this isn't just for older people. I mean, I was in my mid-30s when I started getting it. My daughter, who actually is the one who I was pregnant with at the time, she has had it like pretty much her whole life. So she says I gave it to her. I say she gave it to me because I didn't even have anything like that until I was pregnant with her. So that is really fascinating. It's like, okay, who is carrying this gene or a missing gene maybe that created this RLS, this restless leg syndrome? That's, something I'd really like to know about, but it seems like it's some kind of missing something. But then if she had it, then how did I start getting it? It's almost like, like it's like an energetic something. Anyway, so understanding this connection empowers us to take charge of our health through conscious movement and self-care practices. Fascia, aka the liquid crystalline matrix within our bodies that connects all togetherness, connecting our bodily functions as a whole and connecting us to our highest self, spirit, source, God, the universe. Engaging in body work like myofascial release, massages, there's all kinds of massage that would be helpful. Hydrotherapies, which means like cold plunging, soaking in like hot springs, taking a cold shower at the end of your hot shower. You can even do things with compresses, if you need more circulation in certain areas. There's all kinds of hydrotherapies. Sustainable hydration, which I will mention a little bit more about some of these in a minute. Yoga, Pilates, movement, sound therapy, meditation, visualization, and breath work revitalizes fascia elasticity, enabling lymphatic fluid to circulate freely. This in turn opens up all connection systems within, including our blood to circulate more freely as well. So if you need better circulation, for your heart, for a healthier heart, for, healthier venous system, for your veins, if you have something, maybe it's hereditary or, you want your blood to circulate better, maybe for your complexion, for your brain health, for all kinds of things, right? We all need to have good circulation. Daily practices that we can tune into our fascia with the universe would be movement therapy like yoga, stretching, myofascia massage for self. Okay, we can even just look it up, myofascial release, myofascial massage. And we can, of course, massage ourselves. We don't have to pay money for someone else. Of course, that's nice if you have the money, do it, but there's always massage you can do for yourself too. Okay, we can all give ourselves self-love. We don't have to look on the outside for others to give us what we need. We can really fulfill most things. Yes, we need to have communication with others. We're not meant to just be solo, okay? But we can service ourselves and meet our own needs in many, many, many ways. Dancing, even dancing by ourselves, right? Dancing is so therapeutic. Sound therapy, like humming, chanting, sound baths. Vibrations will ripple through your fascia when you do this. Okay? Sound therapy is up and coming more, but it's been around forever and very, very vital to good health. Breath work, combining oxygen with rhythm, which means breath work is paying attention to your breath. There's different breathing exercises that we can be doing that will regulate our fascia and nervous system. Hydration, adding minerals, aka electrolytes, for optimal absorption, which keeps fascia supple at a cellular level. Very, very important to hydrate. Remember, our bodies are 80% or more water, okay? Water meaning water that has minerals, okay? Not just stripped water, not tap water. Water that is pure and that has proper minerals, trace minerals added to it so that it can be absorbed by our cells and our fascia. Collagen support, grass-fed carnivore diet, bone broths, vitamin C with bioflavonoids. More info on this in my previous episode, Healthy Aging with Collagen Support, on my Conscious Choices for Wellness podcast. Rest and meditative stillness. This allows for space for intuitive downloads. Okay, we want to connect with our intuition more. We want to connect with source more so we can grow, so we can be at peace, so we can heal inside. Resting properly, sleeping at night. We can get intuitive downloads that way. In maybe our dream state. Maybe we don't even know. A lot of us don't remember, but we are getting rid of stuff we don't need when we sleep. And we're also getting some intuitive downloads, especially like in the early hours when you wake up. I know, I've heard that if you get up super early in the morning, right, when like most of the world is still, or at least wherever you're living, right? Most of the people are still sleeping and not up and moving. When there's more stillness, you're supposed to be more in tune with the universe and you can hear things more clearly. This totally makes sense. And I know it's very hard because I am not one that can get up at 4 or 5 in the morning. I never have been, and I don't know if I ever will. But 7 is like pushing it for me. I'd really like to be able to get up at like 6:30. I'm hoping that someday I can do the 6:30 thing. And I think that might be coming soon in a couple of months for me when I get settled. And having that stillness to allow for space, right? So that your mind can really be quiet and you really will hear these pings, these downloads that will tell you things that you would not otherwise when the mind is so filled with whatever chaos during the day. You're not really clear and you can't hear everything that maybe you should be hearing, insights, guidance, things that, are very valid, right? So we're making the right decisions and we're not taking as long to get where we want to go. So like a symphony playing in our body with the beat or frequency from the universe. There's a beautiful picture that I made actually with AI. I put the description, coherency of bodily systems in connection to universal energy. And it made a pretty cool image. It's in my Substack blog that I am reading from and then going off on tangents. And it's a pretty cool picture. I was like, oh, I like the way that one turned out. So I don't make very many pictures with AI. I've done it maybe a handful of times now. And I like a symphony. If you think like a symphony, they're in coherency with each other. The players are connected, right? Coherent means connection. And the symphony is playing within our own body with the beat or frequency from the universe that's outside of us, right? That's what we want to be doing. I mean, that's what I want to be doing. And only if we have blockages in our fascia from stuck emotions, which most of us do, then that will ripple out to blockages in other areas, creating stagnant energy that leads to disease, discomfort from inflammation, and chronic negative emotions and thoughts. And when our fascia is adequately nourished, it becomes a healthy home for our lymphatic system, which includes our blood flow, just like when a river flows freely without a dam, creating a healthy ecosystem for the habitants that live there. When our blood and lymph can flow freely is when we feel our best, most vital state. Illness sets in when waste can't be removed properly and nutrients can't enter our cells readily, right? That's like breaking it down, okay? Almost like at elementary level, right? When our blood and our lymph, okay, our lymph is, in different areas. There's sections throughout our body, underneath our skin, and we have nodes, and it's even in our blood and in our cells, and it's all over the body. And it's our detoxification system, right? And it's carrying messages and all kinds of things, I'm sure, around the body, right? And if it can't flow freely, then we will feel ill. But if it is flowing freely, then we will feel our most vitality. We will have energy. We won't get sick. So remembering that fascia is both a part of our structural connective system and a signaling mechanism that connects the micro, which is our cells, out to the macro universe is key and quite fascinating. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I invite you to notice how your body feels after movement, sound, or breath work. So after listening to some really fucking awesome music, like your favorite music, right? How good it makes you feel. That it's like sound therapy, right? And there's all kinds of sound therapy and chanting and, like singing bowls and certain kinds of flutes and drums and all kinds of music that can like put you into like just a trance meditative state that's just so healing, right? Or breath work, just sitting quietly, getting your mind as quiet as possible and concentrating on your breath. Notice how you feel afterwards. You're nourishing that fascia system throughout your body, which is helping everything else to flow better as well. So do you feel more connected? Your intuition sense, to your intuitive state, maybe? I know I do. Definitely after any of these, movement, sound, breath work. And those are all free things to do. They don't cost money. I mean, you can pay and go somewhere, of course, and listen to music or go to a sound bath or go to ecstatic dance or, pay someone to do like breath work one-on-one with you to learn some breathing techniques. But you don't have to. And this is your third eye being activated. I have another nice picture that I found. Actually, I think I made this one too. I just called it Third Eye Intuition. It's pretty cool. I might put one of these on the cover of the podcast. I'm not sure yet. So here's an offering. I am certified in aromatherapy, and I want to offer whoever's listening out there a custom blend of essential oils that you can use in your inhaler, you can use in a bath, you can put in a carrier oil and use on your body. And some of them, I have all of these, I'm pretty sure, on hand, are rosemary, juniper, clary sage, patchouli, and frankincense. And all of these essential oils will help strengthen and nourish your intuition. So just reach out to me if you're interested in this blend. I will make you a special blend, any of these or all of these together, and I will ship it to you free of charge. I just would appreciate dropping me a comment, a review, and I, really want to build this podcast. I want to keep doing it. I may take a couple of weeks off when I'm moving next month, but I definitely love doing this. I love sharing, and I'm doing this all on my own. So, all of my clips and everything, and trying to get it out, on the right social platforms. And it's quite exhausting, and the time goes by so fast, but it's a work of love. Does that make sense? It's a project of love, and it's important. And even if I reach a small audience, that's a big audience to me, and it's so worth it. So I learned to reset my nervous system while activating my fascia system on a whole body level with a simple sound therapy technique that you can do anywhere. Well, maybe not if you're in front of a bunch of people. They might think you're cuckoo nuts or something. But I wanted to share that. If you're still here with me, let's pause together and do this. I might have done this actually on another podcast. I can't remember. But this is a really good thing to do if you're feeling like your nervous system needs a reset. If you're feeling like you just want to give your body some extra love and even connect with the universe more. So this is something I learned. I will give credit to the TBM women, to be magnetic. And I have been part of their group. I started listening to the podcast, and I pay for a subscription, and I get to do all the great DIs that they offer and the journaling prompts and everything. And in a couple of the deep imaginings that is working on a somatic healing level, they have this sound therapy that is called VUing. And now that I'm talking about it, I think I did mention it a few podcasts ago. So let's just take a deep breath, and you can listen to me first. We're going to do this about 3 or 4 times. Take a deep breath all the way in through your nose, all the way down into the base of your spine. Hold for a few seconds. And then on the exhale, you're going to say the word VOO. So you're vibrating. You're going VOO. Like VOO. And you're going to hear like this hum, like vibration, that your tongue is on the roof of your mouth, and you're going VOO, VOOing. Okay, it's called VOOing. VOO. Your lips are kind of together, just open slightly, and your tongue is on the roof of your mouth. Actually, my tongue is not on the roof of my mouth. Sorry. But you're making a vibrational hum. And even humming is very, very therapeutic. And I think we used to do that more back in the day. But I'm telling y'all, it's good for you. And so hum the fuck away as much as you can. If you're driving, your favorite song's on, whatever, hum that tune. If you don't like the way that you sing, hum. And the humming is giving a similar vibration to the VOOing, okay? So we're going to take a couple more breaths and try this VOOing practice. Deep breath in, all the way. Hold. Exhale. Wow. I feel like the VOOing makes the exhale just go on and on and on. I felt like I could have just kept exhaling on that VOO. That was a trip. Okay, one more time with me. Inhale. Hold. Wow. That's pretty fucking cool. All right. Well, I'm telling you, it's a great thing to do, especially before you go to bed at night. It will really help you to calm down if you need to. Drink some of my relaxed tea blend too. If you'd like to try it, reach out. I'll throw a sample in the mail for you. And here's a bonus tip. If you're feeling the need to love yourself more, I made a little self love ebook that I'd love to share with you. There's a link in my blog on Substack for this podcast. I'm also going to drop a link in the show notes here on Spotify. Next week, like I said, I will be writing on this topic more and how it relates to aging, and those of you that are curious about the mysterious RLS or restless leg syndrome. Okay, love and gratitude to you. Please be strong. And I hope that if you are attending any of these US wide or beyond this country wide, I've heard some other countries doing it as well. Organization of, you know what I mean, these music festivals. Just stay safe. I pray that everybody stays safe. And I pray that we can just keep coming together stronger and stronger and stronger every day, every week, every month, and that we can make serious change happen. Okay? We're in the second part of this year. I know it's really nuts and it's a lot, but there's people waking up, but we have so many more people to wake up, and we have a lot of change to be had, right? Yes. So I appreciate you. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned. Love and blessings. Bye. Thank you all so very much for listening today. I genuinely hope that you learned something, and I invite you to join me each week so you never miss a conscious wellness beat. This podcast holds a special place in my heart dedicated to my evolution here, my passionate mission to spread more consciousness for the much needed wellness on Earth. Come join me as a guest as well. Let's collaborate, making change for future generations.